Let me start. So this time we're gonna see more details about the process reversibility, particularly for Carnot cycle. So conclusively, before going further, I can say that presence of entropy can ruin the reversibility. Okay, so in the presence of the entropy, we cannot have the reversibility. We're gonna see how it can be validated. Previously, in last lecture, we have discussed key feature of the Carnot cycle is the reversibility. So, as you already indicate, let's say here we can have the high temperature reservoir with T1, and here is the low temperature reservoir T2. Okay, let's say we're gonna insert Carnot engine. Okay, so it can produce work. So here thermal efficiency should be 1 minus QR over QH. And the other daunting feature of this rule is that the term of the heat can be translated into the temperature counterpart. Let's write this one. So what that means is that each efficiency of system here, as the heat transfer from the high temperature reservoir to low temperature reservoir, the system is basically heat engine, and each thermal efficiency can be simplified by the 1 minus TL over TH. So what that means is that it's independent of the system of interest. Let's say we can have another temperature reservoir. Let's say each temperature is something between T1 and T2, and between them we can insert each different Carnot engine. So in this case, engine 1 can receive the heat from T1 high temperature reservoir, and let's say it's a Carnot engine, so it can have the reversibility, it produce work, and remaining heat can send to another reservoir here, T3. Also, it can receive the QC and produce work, and it can send out the heat. So the question becomes, what's the thermal efficiency for the left case, highlighted by here gray color? Conclusively, as we discussed before, it's exactly same what the left can have. Why would that be, right? Because basically, this thermal efficiency is independent of the system of interest. It can be proved somewhat different way. Let me see if I can articulate that. For example, okay, so for the left case, for example, thermal efficiency in this case should depending on the ratio of Q1 over Q3, right? And as with this previous case, it should be function of T1 and T3, as with this one. Okay. So in this case, we can correct the subscript Q1 and Q2. So one should be Q2 over Q1. How about this? It should be Q3 over Q2. Okay. Each thermal efficiency should depending on the Q3 over Q2. Also, it should be function of T3 and T2. For this case, thermal efficiency should be function of Q1 over Q2 as we described just now, and it's a function of T1 and T2. So by combining these three guys, we can reach at the conclusion as follow. For example, Q1 over Q2 could be Q1 over Q3, and also the denominator can be Q2 over Q3. Okay. In other words, so left could be function of T1 and T3, T2, while right could be function of T1 and T3 over function of T2, T3. And what you can learn from this relation is like this. T3 can be arbitrarily choose between T1 and T2. Can be arbitrarily choose between T1 and T2 because eventually it's gone. Q1 over Q2 becomes new function of temperature. For example, Q1 over Q2 could be like this. Here psi is somewhat different from previous function here f. So in other words, it becomes T1 over T2. What it means is that both guys can have the same thermal efficiency, and here thermal efficiency is only function of T1 and T2. So the system of interest cannot affect the accessible thermal efficiency here. Okay. If the engine is reversible. In other words, there are no entropy loss. So by using this relation, we can have another important conclusion. For example, T1, for example, could be function of T2, Q1, and Q2, much like this one. Okay, so it's time to imagine what happens when Q1 can be ignored. In other words, there are no heat transfer from high temperature reservoir to low temperature reservoir. It could be possible, some case. So what happened? What that means that if the Q is 0, the temperature T1 should be 0. This is another way to define the absolute 0. This thing can happen for the case of absolute 0 of T1. In that case, there are no Q. So in this case, we can say that there is no difference between isothermal process and adiabatic process. It's identical. And question becomes, okay, generally the Carnot engine can be detailed by this block diagram, right? First rule should be like this. In other words, we can see that there is no term for internal energy. Given this first rule, there is no way to increase the temperature of the system. Nothing for internal energy. In other words, we can say that there are no entropy loss. That's the reason why this system could be reversible. What I mean by reversible here is that it can get back to the original state after completing cycle. Okay, so we can go in opposite direction if they can receive work whose amount is exactly the same what they did before. Okay, in this case, QH also can get back to the original state, so there are no entropy loss and they can get back to the original state. That's the reason why people say that this is reversible. It can be further detailed by using PV diagram. For example, let's say we're going to have this kind of PV diagram. Okay, so for completing cycle, also we have to have the Q and change for internal energy and the term for work. Okay, let's say we can start here. Starting point can be denoted as the 1, and through the adiabatic process, we can reach at the different state. There's state 1, state 1, state 2. This is your adiabatic process. What that means is that there is no Q. So only work and internal energy change is available for first row. In this case, okay, the work done by system is fully converted into the temperature increasement. So we can start at the relatively low temperature, but after completing this adiabatic process, the temperature could be increased like this. And then we can take isothermal process for receiving heat. In order to complete the cycle, we have to have the Q, but in this case, temperature remains intact. We can keep the temperature constant. So here, inserted Q need to be equal to the work. And we can take another adiabatic process. Through that, we can reduce temperature again, and we can get back to the original state by rejecting the heat, QR. This is reversible. And it's time to see what happened when this reversibility is broken. So it's going to be highlighted by different color here. Okay, so if this process, for example, from 1 to 2 can be achieved in an irreversible way, what's going to happen? So some amount of the work need to be converted to Q as well as the internal energy. What that means is that increasing in the temperature should be limited somewhat, much like this one. We cannot say this is adiabatic process because Q is not 0. And then also for receiving the heat, we can convert it partially into the internal energy change as well as the work. So what that means is that volume change could be also limited, much like this one. Same thing can be happen during process from 3 to 4. So we can reach at somewhere here because some amount of the work needs to be converted into the heat as well as the internal energy. So temperature change should be limited. That's the reason why we cannot get back to the TR here. So this is going to be repeated during the cycle. And eventually this will be disappeared. this will be gone, right? This is what happened when we break down this reversibility of the system. As I introduced before, mainly the presence of the entropy ruin the reversibility of cycle. We'll see in details after quantitatively understanding about the entropy. Previously, we are mainly depending on the qualitative understanding of entropy and describe what happened when the entropy is involved in this cycle. But we'll see in more detail, in more quantitative way, how we can define the entropy. But before going further, let me briefly introduce how the entropy could be generated and how they can make the system irreversible. For example, so previously we described the Carnot cycle with this block diagram, right? So in this case, we didn't consider about this temperature of the system. Here, heat engine, right? We didn't account for the temperature of the heat engine. But as with the relationship between sun and earth, it should be 6000 K while the low temperature should be about the 300 K. The temperature of the system or temperature of the heat engine should be somewhere between 6000 K and 300 K, right? So what that means is that the system or heat engine should have to have distinct temperature. In other words, it can emit the light in the form of radiation. It should follow up the Planck's law because it has the temperature. What that means is that they should lose energy. Okay. QH just equal to the work plus QR. But we become aware that the cell or heat engine should lose energy because they can emit the light in the form of radiation. What they mean is that this force law could be changed. How about the entropy? Entropy here could be like this. But that's not all. If the reversibility is involved, this heat engine can generate additional entropy. So I will denote as the SG. Previously we ignore it, but in realistic case we cannot ignore it anymore because heat engine should have distinct temperature. Okay, it should be larger than 0. The balance equation for the second law also should be changed as well. We have to account additional effect. For example, let's say we are here and sun is here. We can place the heat engine, for example, solar cell, onto the surface of our planet. Okay, so incoming heat is the form of the radiation. How about the QR? It's mainly transferred through the conduction or convection, right? So this situation itself can break up the reversibility of the process because as we discussed before, this radiation and conduction or convection should have different entropy. For the radiation is proportional to the T to the 4. How about the conduction and convection? It should be proportional to the T. So in general, entropy could be like this, but this radiation is more sensitive to the change of the temperature. So since 1980, people become aware that we have to add more factor here, 4/3, while conduction and convection still follows Q/T. So itself, the difference between radiation and conduction or convection itself can generate irreversibility. So in realistic case, we have to account for this irreversibility. Additional thing to keep in mind is like this. Previously, we discussed about the Kirchhoff's law, right? Okay, so for the case of the black body, let's say absorption here alpha and emission epsilon should be equal. And more specifically, it can have the specific incident angle. In other words, that's actually momentum and frequency. This is the omega, angular frequency. A specific momentum and angular frequency, absorption and emission should be equal with each other. What that means that the Kirchhoff's law is basically valid for the radiation. And this is fully reversible. So what that means that this reversibility can be guaranteed for this kind of radiation process. So incoming heat can be radiation, also emission could be radiation as well. In this case, we can achieve Kirchhoff's law. But how about the realist case? As we discussed just now, okay, the radiation and conduction or convection are co-involved in this process. What that means that reversibility can be broken. Furthermore, once heat engine, for example, solar cell, photoelectrochemical cell, solar cell fuel, and so on, once they receive the QH from sun, the absorbed heat going to be dissipated along the cell, and this can be achieved mainly by conduction rather than radiation. And then QR also can be mainly done by conduction or convection in this case. Also, according to the Kirchhoff's law, they should emit the heat, right? So this for the absorption. Also, we have to consider about the emission process. Also, they can emit some amount of heat because temperature of the heat engine is not zero, right? So there should be some radiative loss. Also, during this process, another conduction along the cell or within the cell can be happen. And this cannot be equal anymore. So irreversible entropy generation is inevitable in this case. So later on, we'll detail further about that, and then you can become aware that how the entropy can reduce the accessible thermal efficiency and how they can make the system irreversible. Okay. So toward this end, first we have to discuss in more detail about the entropy. That's the main topic of chapter 8. Okay, to start this chapter, I will use this well-known diagram here. So the vertical corresponds to the generalized force, much like the pressure, right? At bottom, you can see generalized displacement. Displacement is something like the movement or change in length, right? So here it could be V, and then it becomes well-known PV diagram. We already quite familiar with it, right? And then here is initial point, and then here is the final point, and through specific pathway we can reach at here from I to F. So underneath of this light blue line correspond to the achievable work. Then let's say we can put some two different process, adiabatic process and isosomal process. As we discussed before, adiabatic process could be steeper than isosomal process. And by combination of these two, adiabatic and isosomal process, we can set out different pathway from I to F like this. This light blue is fully reversible. We can assume it is reversible. And then process through IABF. Okay, so from I to A, this can be achieved by the adiabatic process. Okay, there's no Q, right? Just temperature could be changed by receiving the work from the surround. How about the process from A to B? This isosomal process. During that way, they can receive heat, right? But there's no irreversible something because during this process we can receive the heat without any change in temperature. And then finally we can take a step from B to F via adiabatic process. So from I, A, B, F also could be reversible. That's the reason why we can have this conclusion. Work from I to F should be equal to the work through I, A, B, F. When this process from I and F is reversible, and then you can have this relation. How about the heat? For the case of the process from I, F, we can have this first row, right? Q should be equal to the change of U and work. IABF also same, right? Then as we discussed just now, that's the same. And this also could be same because both are reversible. Okay, so what the mean is that Q between two processes also exactly same. And as we discussed before, from I to A and from B to F can be achieved only through the adiabatic process. What that means that there are no related heat. So they can be transformed into this relation QIF should be equal to the QAB. We can become aware that if the process take a step in this kind of zigzag fashion, each of them correspond to the adiabatic and isothermal process, we can have the reversible process. Okay, let me review again. If we can take a step in this kind of zigzag fashion, each of them imply the adiabatic and isothermal process respectively, we can make this process is fully reversible. Yeah, it's time to see more generalized PV diagram. For example, PV. Here's I. Okay, here's F. We can draw the arbitrary pathway, much like this one. Also, for completing cycle, we can get also arbitrarily choose cycle, much like this one. And can we judge whether it is reversible or not? That's the question we have to address at the moment. Can it be reversible or not? If this cycle can be composed into something like zigzag fashion, as we discussed before, okay, as highlighted by green line, if it can take a step in this kind of zigzag fashion, we can say that this process is reversible. So even with this arbitrarily choose pathway, this, and we can repeat it as much like this one. So we can have 1, 2, 3 and more. Also each of them, as with the previous case, each of them can be further decomposed into the adiabatic and isothermal process. For example, let's see for the case 1, these two lines highlighted by yellowish color could correspond to the adiabatic process, while these two lines correspond to the isothermal process. And 2, 3, and could have the same relationship. It can be decomposed into the each individual cycle. 1, 2, 3, and we can repeat until this whole area is fulfilled. Each of them can be considered as the full reversible process. So from here to there, we can receive the work V here is going to be reduced. There is nothing about the irreversible something because it can be fully achieved by adiabatic process. So work can be fully converted into the change in internal energy as represented by the increase in temperature. So here T1, they can increase to T2 and they can receive the heat during the isothermal process, actually in this case Q2. And then the surround the received work without any loss. They can be achieved through the another adiabatic process as indicated by here blue arrow. And then they can back to the original state here T1. And then they can get back to the T1 here process 1 throughout rejecting heat, much like this one. And each of cycle 1, 2, 3 and even n can be done in the same way, and eventually this cycle can be fully reversible. More about things well depicted in this slide. So cycle 1, 2, 3, 4 and even n number of cycle can be used for completing full cycle as highlighted by here gray line, and each of them can be fully reversible because each cycle can be decomposed into the two adiabatic and two isothermal process. So in this case, we can have this relation Q1 over T1 should be equal to the Q2 over T2, and other thing is same. For example, this is for cycle 1, this is for cycle 2. We can repeat until this subset of the cycle fulfill the overall area of the cycle, highlighted by gray color. Okay, so eventually we can have Q1 over T1 plus Q2 over T2, and we can repeat until the cycle is fulfilled. So more generally, we can use summation to generalize this process. So Q over T can be integrated for each cycle, here denoted as J. So if this is reversible, there should be 0. Summation of Q over T for all subset of cycle should be 0. We can have this relation if each of them could be infinitesimally small. Then you can use this integral rather than summation. So if the Q over T integrated much like this one, and then it becomes 0, you can say that this is a reversible system. As we discussed before, this reversibility can also bring us to have independence of the thermal efficiency to the system. Regardless of system of interest, thermal efficiency can be defined only by the difference between the high temperature and low temperature reservoir, right? TH or NTR here. So any other factor related to system cannot affect achievable thermal efficiency. Okay. Only T or Q is involved when we define the thermal efficiency. In other words, it becomes pathway independent. Okay. This reversible system does not depending on the which pathway we're gonna use. So let's say we can have another PV diagram as indicated here. Here P, here V, and we can start here I, and we can reach at the F, and then we can get back to the original state. So the first process from I to F could be denoted as 1, and getting back can be denoted as the 2. And if these two processes reversible are here, it becomes path independent. Okay, it can be generalized by using this integral. Okay, along the process R1 and R2, the summation or integration over Q over T could be 0. And as it is path independent, can be decomposed each of them for R1, R2. The thing to keep in mind here is that the integration direction could be inverse with each other. For example, R1 should start from I, and they can be integrated toward F, and the R2 has the inverse direction. Anyhow, as it is path independent, this integration can be decomposed for R1 and R2 respectively. And in other words, we can have this relation, okay? Integration for R1 and R2 could be inverse with each other. Let's check this one and this one. So this is another way to quantitatively describe the reversibility of the process. Okay. Reversibility of a process can be quantitatively described by using this entropy concept. Also, it can be further generalized by using this relationship. Okay. Here, let's say from I to F is reversible, and total change in entropy SF minus SI could be equal to the integration over I to f of q over t. So regardless of the pathway, the change in entropy could be the same. Also, we can say that so as depicted here, from state I to state F is any reversible path R. If then the entropy change of a system between state I and F is independent of the path. This is a very remarkable result. Although the heat entering the system depending on the pathway between state I and F, the entropy change does not depending on pathway. Okay, so as we discussed before, in order to make the system reversible, the heat should be infused or rejected only through the isothermal process. But for the case of entropy change, does not depend on the pathway. So from this, we can derive the conclusion, much like this one. This entropy here should be state function, not something in transit, because these are path independent. That does not depend on the path. That's the key conclusion we can have in this lecture